Well, suppose we have 3x minus an x squared times x over 4x cubed minus 12x squared plus 20x minus 60. So notice in the first term here, it's not quite a rational expression, but I can't imagine that, how could I make this a fraction? Yeah, just put it over 1. So I can rewrite this as over 1. Now I can multiply straight across the top. Can I factor this 3x minus x squared? Is there a common factor here? An x, right? So I can pull out an x. So that's x times 3 minus x all over 1. Did I make a mistake? Times, can't do anything with this x. How would I begin to think about factoring this denominator here? Yeah, just by grouping. So here you might need to do a little mini problem. So on the side of your paper you might want to factor 4x cubed minus 12x squared plus 20x minus 60. So again, I want to group the first two, and let's group the second two. I can factor out a 4x squared here from the first group, and I'll have x minus 3. What am I going to factor out of the second group? What did you say, Raphael? I don't need to factor out a negative 1. Right here from the first group? Right here. I don't need to factor out a negative 1 in this case. You'll see why in a minute, I think. What do I want to factor out of this second group? 20, a positive 20. And then what am I going to have left? X minus 3. So notice that the only time I really want to factor out a negative 1 is if these two things, if one of these were the opposite of the other. So if this were 3 minus x, then I would want to factor out a negative 1 so that I could rewrite it. See what I'm saying? So we don't have to do that in this case. Oh, up here, yes. Oh, over here on this side, yes. We're going to get there. Yeah, no, you're thinking ahead. Good. I thought you were talking about this particular problem. So what does this tell me? What are the factors? X minus 3 times 4x squared plus 20. Good. Any questions so far? And Raphael is right. So he noticed that here I have a 3 minus x, but down on the bottom I have an x minus 3. So how can I rewrite this? What was the thing that we did? Not divide, but factor out a negative 1. Let me go ahead and just rewrite everything on the top. So I have x squared times 3 minus x all over x minus 3 times 4x squared plus 20. I just went ahead and rewrote this as a product. Just multiply everything on the top and everything on the bottom. Now I want to factor out a negative 1. So I have a negative 1. Still have my x squared here, this x squared, factoring a negative 1 from this binomial. And what am I going to have left? So what happens? What do we do when we factor out a negative 1? Yeah, change the signs, right? So it's going to be a negative 3 and a positive x. I can rewrite that as x minus 3 all over, and then I have my x minus 3 times 4x squared plus 20. Here my x minus 3's cancel. What do I have left on the top? I have a negative x squared all over 4x squared plus 20.